Hello, my name is Ryan Wickham, and I'm your host on Behind the Scenes with Ryan Wickham. This is my book, Outlaw Principles. It's the first of many to come, two of which were going to be released next year. Outlaw Principles, as I've told you before, has sold out 3 times on Amazon.com and is quickly marching towards a 4th sellout. So, hey, God bless you all for buying this book. I can promise you this, it is thought-provoking, and you won't be bored reading it. All right, now we got a big day today, and a lot of blockbuster stuff like I was advertising. I decided it would be time to go public with my where the core of my fan base is, and in terms of that and where my book sales are coming out of, and to really publicly acknowledge the good and wonderful people and where they are. And so what I've done is I've taken the top 3 countries or top 3 areas in the world where Outlaw Principles is just booming and exploding. Number 3 in terms of sales and popularity base is India. India, are you kidding me? It's astonishing to me that some Canadian kid could write this book, and now my 3rd best sales are in India. And no, my mother did not run off to India and then start buying all these books from different addresses. No, these are actual fans who have taken the time to buy my book and to ask me questions about it, to tune into these episodes, to go to my blog site, hit me up on Twitter, Facebook, what have you. Great fan base out of India. You have a beautiful culture. I've always been enchanted by it. Women are beautiful, of course, as everybody knows. The food is amazing. It's just a very interesting and very rich culture that I'd really like to publicly acknowledge and thank the good people of India. The fact that I can say Outlaw Principles in India in the same sentence blows my mind. I mean, that's crazy to me. And I just realized I'm so sorry. I have the most terrible manners. I haven't actually introduced my co-host, Josh Wong, who is actually also, in addition to being a co-host, is actually the producer with J1 Productions. So I do apologize for that. He's the handsome gentleman sitting beside me. Now, number 2, and this is like a 2-part kind of bam for me. Number 2 is in the UK. Okay, Saturday, I went to my computer and found out that People Magazine UK is actually following me on Twitter. That blew my mind. Like I got up, my immediate response was to just jump up off my chair, and because I was just floored by the fact that this would actually happen. I mean, what's really cool about all of you in the UK is that you really take the time to talk to me. You interact with me on Twitter and on Facebook and on my blog, and you really ask me questions. And it's not even sometimes, it's conversations about the book or about my personal experience behind it and how I became an author, but about other things too. Sometimes it's about, drinking tea or discussing sports or politics or what have you. And I really enjoy your very sort of happy, optimistic, sort of very insightful way of life. It's definitely very becoming, to say the least. And I cannot wait to get to the other side of the pond to celebrate the success of Outlaw Principles with you and all the good things that's done behind the story, right? So I'm really looking forward to do that. And I genuinely mean that. I genuinely mean that. No matter how big I get, I do want to interact on a personable level with all of my fans, to personally thank them if they're free to be around for me to do so. Number one, my sales, my fan base is in the United States of America. Thank you. That to me is big, because being able to sell out, being able to become such a big up-and-coming star there really breeds for a very successful career with a great deal of longevity. So that's just amazing. I'm really touched, and I promoted this book very heavily in the States prior to it coming out. And so it's good to see that the success has paid off, that the good American men and women took the time to relate to me and my story, and to take a look at the book, and then actually take the time to tell me how much you're actually enjoying it, right? It's not like, okay, I bought your book, now shut up, leave me alone kind of thing. No, they actually took the time to really interact with me as well, and give me such positive feedback, and to tell me what an inspiration I am. And I do appreciate that. So thank you, America. Thank you, UK. Thank you, India. Wow, again, blows my mind. I'd like to thank all my fans here in Canada too, because I don't want to leave them out. I don't want anybody to feel excluded. Anybody, wherever you are in the world, if you've purchased this book or you've supported me by telling other people about me, thank you. I want to thank the people here in Sudbury, Ontario, who have been purchasing my book. That's my hometown, so I really do appreciate knowing that when I am in the city, I'm in a city where people are buying my book and know about who I am and what I'm about, and I do appreciate all the kind words that I receive when I am in Sudbury. It's a beautiful thing, and I thank you very much for that. I also want to thank the good people in Montreal and throughout BC, particularly in Vancouver, Nanaimo, Richmond. I know Richmond and Surrey are two suburbs of Vancouver. I'm going to be in Vancouver in May, so I got lots of things I want to do out in Vancouver. We're starting the national tour, but yeah, I mean, you guys have been rocking it out, like really lighting up my fan base, my book sales. So, Sudbury, Vancouver, Montreal, hey, love to you all. Thank you very much. Thanks for the love. That's for sure. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure many more Canadians will be going out purchasing Outlaw Principles, and I really do genuinely appreciate that. Anyway, that's for that shout out. And I got stay tuned because we got more big news coming. But before we get to that other big news, this is something we've been dragging our feet on because, and not purposely, but because there were so many other big issues that we had to get to. Fans have taken their time, and I do take this seriously. I don't want you to feel like it's in vain. We've received over 10,000, well over 10,000 questions. What we've had to do, and I've kept this guy up at work late at night, going through all those, try and figure out. And I mean, I've been working on them too, but he's been there with me, trying to figure out, which are the most popular questions. And what we were able to do is we were able to narrow down well over 10,000 questions, the most popular question related to each chapter. And so it's a bit of a spoiler alert, but not really, because in how we're going to answer these questions, we're not going to give away too much of the content and information within the chapters that would make it pointless for you to read it after hearing this. So don't worry, but it may give you some insight, but it won't in any way ruin the chapter. So it's sort of a spoiler alert, but not something we really have to worry about. So today we're going to cover chapter 1, 2, and 3, one question each, the most popular one out of all those questions. Josh is going to ask me those. So hit me up for chapter 1, bro. What you got?
Well, as you said, we have a lot of emails to sift through. I'm sorry if we don't get to all of your questions, but we do have a lot of the popular ones here before us for chapters 1, 2, and 3. Before we rush off on tour, we'd like to get to them.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So, chapter 1, particularly about the outlaw and his upbringing, brings us to bullying. And do you believe that children can develop such a mentality at that age?
I think that it's amazing, because even with your son, I mean, he's such a sweet boy, and you see so many kids, and you think to yourself, they are just angels, and in many respects, they always are, regardless of what they're doing. But I know firsthand that bullying at child age can happen. High school was great. I was popular, played football, played sports, lots of friends, girlfriends, whatever. It was all great. But elementary school for me was hell. Like, it was bad, Josh. It was so bad. I'm a bigger guy, so I didn't have to worry about the physical abuse. But I almost wish I had to only deal with that on some levels, just because the verbal abuse was so bad. Like, they would tell me they would hope that I get into a car accident, that I would die. I could say anything at all. They'd tell me I'm stupid. And it really stemmed not from anything that I did to them, just more so the fact that because I was so weird to them and so different, they didn't understand different. So their initial reaction was to attack the different, I guess. Right. And, bullying's a very real threat. And so I really want to bring some awareness of it into the book, but also this guy's an outlaw. Okay. He does some seriously bad things, but he does it with the right intentions. Okay. You don't have to agree with that. And I don't have to agree with that. It's not me anyway. It's the book that we're talking about here. Right. So I also wanted people to see that, understanding when he does these bad things, that this guy did have a beginning. He didn't just rise out from the swamp as a monster. Like, he was developed through the series of life events, right? So that's part of the reason why I really want to include that, how he became this vigilante, how he was driven right from his early years. So like seeds growing, right? This is how it all got planted, how it all got started. So yeah, I mean, bullying is a very serious thing, and it's something that needs to be addressed and dealt with to be ended, because I mean, people are committing suicides because of online bullying. So bullying is just like this ever advancing thing. So anyway, I'll let you get on. Let's hit chapter 2.
Bullying aside, I guess this really leads into the next question. Check your facts. Why is the chapter 2 titled that?
Chapter 2, check your facts. That's really to do with the fact that I think that's really important, because we're in a society that's constantly growing, changing. Everything's around us. Population changes, age-wise, race-wise. With immigration, people leave, people come back, people go to new parts. So what was current today in our particular household, in our particular schools, in our hospitals, in our justice system, in our offices, in our whatever, doesn't mean that it's still going to be current tomorrow. Okay, so we really need to always be evaluating and reevaluating and making sure that we're doing the best we can to fulfill the destiny of our goal as a unit, right? So if we're working for a company, you think that it's discriminating in some way, women or men from whatever particular race or gender, whatever the case is, right? We want to make sure that that ends. And so in order to be most efficient as an organization, you have to constantly reevaluating your goals, your values, and your beliefs. Because maybe yesterday there was no problem with them, because there weren't circumstances which would have created that problem. But now circumstances have changed, and so now how we do business has to change. So that's really what it reflects upon that. Now, I do make that message, but in a much louder, more entertaining way than I'm conveying it right now. And that's kind of the thing, is that he gets to make his points, but in a way that's vastly entertaining. Like it's not just a thought-provoking thing. It's an entertaining thing. It's not like, you're never bored. That's one thing that I've heard a lot. And that's why I keep saying you'll never be bored. That's what my fans keep telling me. Right? Is that I was never bored. That's for sure. I was, blah 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 this and that, and they're very excited as they talk to me about it. So yeah, I'm kind of laying out in kind of a dry way right now, but in the book, it's certainly more exciting. So
you got to read the book.
You got to read the book. Yeah.
All right. Question 3. The outlaw reveals his motto, death before dishonor. Now, when you wrote that, was this pertaining to any individual, any group, or does it just reinforce the old gender stereotype of male chivalry?
I think that this death before dishonor can mean something very serious. Like it can mean running into a burning building to save people who deserve to be saved. It could be running into bullet fire to pull out a fellow soldier or whatever the case might be. But it also is more so to do with a moral code that you live by and do not deviate from, that you believe in. A case in point of how it could be in our everyday life. Let's say I'm driving down the street and I'm running late and I really want to get to a football game, because I'm a big football fan. So I really want to make sure that I'm going to be there on time, and I'm already running a few minutes late. And then I see this older individual, and the weather isn't good, and he's sort of struggling with his grocery bags because he didn't want to bother anybody asking for a ride to the store. And I see him. You know what? It takes 2 minutes to turn around, pick him up, get him in the car, get him inside. Yeah, they might want to talk a little, and that might delay you a few extra minutes. But in the big picture of things, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. Wouldn't the world be just a little bit better if all of us took the time to live a life of death before dishonor? Like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to apply to this big scheme, war-like situation. It could be something just as simple as, doing a kind, good deed each day. Wherever we can. Holding a door could be about death before dishonor. Like just taking the time to hold the door so you can get in, extending them that courtesy. So, I think that it applies all the way down. So I guess the takeaway, if you want to, like we were talking about this before we started, filming, or recording rather, is that, you want to take a stand against something. That's great. You want to check your facts because you think it doesn't look right. So now you've understood your facts, and now you want to do something about it. That's the death before dishonor part. So, how do you do that? Say if there's a state of, homelessness going on, and you don't think that the right policies are in place to help those people, you put together an online presence in Facebook or on Twitter, and you get people interested, and you get support, you get petitions signed, and then you get the media involved, and eventually those policies do get changed. They can do it. You just can't stop when you get the first no, right? So I guess that would you agree with me? That's kind of the takeaway theme of those three?
Especially since our last episode we talked about whistleblowing. There's a lot of groundbreaking work you have to do and a lot of commitment required.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not, but if we all work together, it's a lot less work because we're all doing these different ends of the job, right? And some of these particular parts of the job, some people might not feel comfortable with, but others will be. So find your place within that. Maybe it's you who'll be making the posters. Maybe it's you who's going to be calling the media. Maybe you're better with that, or maybe you are better on the front lines handing out supplies. I don't know. Like it all depends. Everybody's different. Everybody has their own comfort level, right? So, but all right. So that takes care of those 3 chapters. Now, next, I'd like to mention it's Sunday, and every Sunday I like to do a segment called Citizens Above and Beyond. And Citizens Above and Beyond is now an international thing, and here's why. Okay, as you all know, we had the whistleblowing episode, which was regarding the fact that the city would not provide us with a bin, not by means of donation or even buying it, to hook up and put into Red Dragon Tattoo Studio, where we would be collecting food and warm clothing and blankets to save the lives of these people enduring these very frigid and life-threatening temperatures. We did end up getting a bin. I was able to purchase a bin from Target, and that's fine. It's working out great. The thing though is that I've got some really devoted fans worldwide, and I've got one actually on the west coast of Canada who wants to remain anonymous, simply because she's just so modest. and such a wonderful person. And she had been planning this because she saw a story about what we do on CBC radio, and it really intrigued her. And so she started putting together work on this thing that she's going to do now. And she wasn't sure when she was going to start, but upon hearing the whistleblowing episode, she said, "That's it. That's enough." So what she's done is she's actually taken the time to go to some friends, family, and some colleagues, and so on and so forth, and go to them looking for pledges so she could do a 30-hour famine. And this is a person that's nowhere near Sudbury, Ontario, on the other side of the country, in the West Coast, in Vancouver, and she is taking the time out of her days actually, to organize this, to then collect the money, and then to, on her end of the deal, with a 30-hour famine, so she can deliver this money to Sudbury, to that shelter, to get more supplies, to perhaps keep them open longer throughout the night, even when it's not frigidly cold. But just around, just anything she can do to help this place to better serve the members that need it. Your kindness is amazing. And the reason, she was criticized at first, saying, "Well, why not help the people here first?" And she said, "Well, they're taken care of well here. I mean, they don't have these particular needs, and these people do." So she's reaching out. And now this is what Citizens Above and Beyond has become. It's about an international reach out. So whether you're viewing this from Boston, whether you're viewing this from London, England, whether you're viewing this from Honolulu in Hawaii, regardless of where you are in the world, Russia, you name it, China, anywhere, reach out, okay? I mean, sure, certainly, if you've got a problem in your own neck of the woods, then by all means tend to that as well. But if you see somewhere else that you think you can help them too. Citizens Above and Beyond is now an international program. And we've got to make this world a better place. It's on us to do so, people. It's on us to do so. Politicians are only going to do so much. At the end of the day, the citizens have to get involved and make their voice heard and take the right action. So this is terribly inspiring for me. And you're a wonderful, wonderful person. She won't reveal her identity. She wants to remain anonymous. She's able to achieve her goal, still remaining anonymous. So good on you. I'm also going to be doing a famine. I'm going to hit up a lot of local restaurants and businesses within Sudbury and see what they're willing to contribute. Hopefully something, I'm sure. And I will do a 30-hour famine. I just can't do it as soon as January the 23rd. I'm going to look to do it next month, just because there wouldn't be enough time for me to gather up, as I didn't have this organized at all. So, but anyway. Now, next on Behind the Scenes with Ryan Wickham, we're going to be discussing near-death experiences. And by near-death experiences, I don't just mean I was in a bad car accident, I almost died. I mean, like, no, you're at a point now where you feel your life slipping away. And the reason why I want you to tune in and hear this episode, is because really there's a lot of content in there that could be of real comfort to you, to people who've actually lost somebody. Okay, so if you're nursing some of those wounds, definitely tell your friends, your family, everybody you know, and be sure to tune in on the next episode of Behind the Scenes with Ryan Wickham. Again, my name is Ryan Wickham, and I will see you next time on Behind the Scenes with Ryan Wickham.